Hello and welcome to the introduction to the Fall Favors stamp set and Fall Favors box dies. There's also Fall Favors extra dies. So this bundle allows you to create fun little boxes like an apple, a plant in a pot, an acorn, even a pumpkin or a blueberry. And I'm going to show you how to put this all together. So for the Fall Flavors box dies, there is one accordion-like piece that creates the base and one smaller one that makes the lid. And then this one here creates like a stem. And there's 3 different leaf dies, different shapes, like an oak leaf, maybe a maple. I'm not sure what these are, but I did them in 3 different colors. Big, beautiful leaves. These are little stones or pebbles that you might put in your pot if you're making a snake plant. For the snake plant, there's 2 different sizes of leaves here, and those can also be stamped with a stamp set. I'll show you that later. Here you have 2 different hexagon dies. Those are for your bottom and your top. And then this big round piece here would go in if you were making a plant. None of this really makes sense, but I will show you. These little blobs with a slit in them are for your snake plant, to put that in and adhere it to your pot. And then you have a little tag that has a for you sentiment that you can really customize with different colors. You could leave the little counters of the O and the R in or out. There's a word die, enjoy. There's also a little worm and little teeny tiny worm eyeballs. And then you could put the eyeballs on the worm and have him peeping out of the apple, and it's kind of cute. You know what else you could use? I just thought of this. Googly eyes. That would be fun. But here's the little white and black eyeballs for the worm. Okay, now there is the Fall Flavors extra dies, which give you 2 more of the bottom and 2 more of the top. Because to create an apple or whatever, you need 6. So if you had the extra dies, you'd have 3, and you just have to die cut that twice. So you need 6 pieces. So the extras come in handy if you want to do a lot of these. For the stamp set, this big one is good if you want to stamp like an acorn. This one is for the snake plant to add detail to your plant. And then sentiments, we have happy fall, best teacher ever, thank you, and life would suck without you. Suck meaning succulent. So this is really fun for a lot of different occasions. And those sentiments fit perfectly on that little tag die. Okay, I'm going to show you how to put together an apple. So like I said, you need 6 for the top, 6 for the bottom. I did these all out of poppy. And then I have a leaf and a stem and those 2 hexagon dies. So when you die cut them, they put the little score marks, and you're just going to kind of pre-fold those. It doesn't have to be like an intense folding like with the bone folder and really creasing it. You just want to slightly prep your folds, and I'm going to do that for all 6 pieces. This is going to be the bottom of our apple. So these are the larger pieces, and then here's the top. Again, 6 of those, and I'm just kind of prepping those folds. Not intensely, but just gently, so it gives a little bend to your round apple, and it helps to adhere all the pieces together when it's bent. Now to put together, you put glue on the end. It says, I think, align on it. It's got words on it, so that's the part where you put the glue. And all these pieces are going to get glued to that solid hexagon. So you put glue on the tab, slide it in, line it up with each of the 6 edges of the hexagon. It's very easy to do. I know it might look intimidating, but once you do one, you realize how simple it is. And I'm using liquid glue, so every time I put this down, I kind of hold it and count to 10. You could also use score tape. That would go a lot quicker. But I will say, for putting this together, I recommend liquid glue, because sometimes you got to shimmy things to get them into place and hold it, and you might need a little forgiveness. So I think liquid glue might be a better option, but score tape will work. You just got to be sure of your placement. Okay, now this is the top, and that has the hole in the hexagon. That hole is to tuck your little stem in on the top of your apple. Okay, so I'm putting all these smaller little flaps, and I'm lining those up with the 6 edges of this smaller hexagon, just like I did the base. Again, all of this is out of poppy because I'm making an apple. I'm going to show you after quickly how I made the succulent plant, the potted plant, and then really quick an acorn, just to show you the variation. So there's your top and your bottom glued together. And now this part here, just don't lose heart. You got to just figure it out. You glue those tabs and you line them up with the sides. You kind of got to fold and hold. Fold and hold is the name of the game, but I would say the most important thing is to line up the edges. Once you get the edge, everything else kind of just goes into place. And I know you might, listen, my first one was a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I'm not going to lie, because you're like, am I doing this right? Is this even going to work? But trust the process. It works. You just line it up and this is where glue, I think, is a better option, because you kind of have to shimmy it into place, because it's like got the 3 different folds there and they all are angled. I say get the edge first. Hold that. Once you got that straight, everything else kind of comes into place, and you just hold it and count to 10. If you want to know how many times I counted to 10, a lot. Like a lot. But you know what? You just sit down, get your glue, put on some music, chill, and make yourself a cutie little apple. It's so fun. I don't know. And I don't know what it is about it. I think it's something different than a card. And you could fill it with some candy or like a pair of earrings. It's a great teacher gift because it's an apple. And my kids, I had to show everybody in my family. I'm like, you got to come and look at this apple. You got to come and look at it. But what they love the most, maybe it's just because of the trend, but they really love the potted plant. I geeked out over the apple, but my kids really love the potted plant. They're like, you got to make one of those. I want to put it on my shelf. They all want one now. So it's going to be a hit if you have some young girls in your life. And my one daughter is a teacher, and she was like, I want to put that on my desk, the potted plant. I want to put that on my desk in my classroom. I was like, great idea. So then I thought, well, that would be a fun teacher gift. Give her a potted plant to put on her desk. Anywho, I'm gluing together this lid while I'm blabbing away, and it's almost finished here. Line it up, squeeze those edges together, count to 10. And then we're going to add our stem, which is much easier. Once you get through this part, you've conquered all the heart. And it fits together right on I don't know how they did it. They know their measurements, but it just tucks right in and makes a cute little apple box. I don't know what it is about this, but it just tickles my fancy. Okay, here's your little stem, which I die cut out of, what is this, nutmeg? And it has the little score lines, and you just kind of fold it. Makes like a little box, and then the edges fold out like that. They kind of flap out, and those are going to go inside. First, I'm going to glue the stem together. Just makes like a little box stem. Very easy to put together. Again, count to 10, holding that. Is 10 your lucky number for gluing things? For me, 10 works. If I do any less, it doesn't stick. Put that in the hole. You kind of feed it through, and then you fold those flaps out and secure it on the inside of your apple lid. So I'll put a little bit of glue on each one of those flaps. I love this Barely Arts glue too, because it's long enough. It's got that needle tip, so you can get in those little nooks and crannies and kind of awkward spaces. Again, count to 10 and holding those flaps down, and then you've got your stem on your lid. You could also add a leaf, and you could add a tag. You could stamp, "You're the best teacher." Fill it with some, what would a teacher like? Maybe some mints so she has good breath. I don't know. I think a cute pair of earrings would look cute in there. Here's a little leaf. I guess I'm being, it could be a dude teacher. So then it doesn't always have to be girly gifts, obviously. Chocolate. Chocolate would be what I would want. Fill that thing with some Lindor truffles. And I'm a happy camper. I added the best teacher ever with some twine and a leaf. And there you have an apple box. Now here's what you're going to need to make a potted plant. You're going to need 6 of the bases and a bunch of the leaves. As many as you want. I would say at least 10. And you got the small ones and the big ones. And then you can stamp the detail in the stamp set. There's that detail to stamp and add to your snake leaf. And I did that avocado on avocado cardstock. I think I also did a mixture of grasshopper. You can see there's 2 different greens. You can mix and match your green. Now, I like to glue the 2 together because the back side of the die cut is kind of scratchy. You know, if your die cut machine is well loved. So I glue 2 together so it's smooth on the front and smooth on the back. So you're going to die cut some extra, stamp on both sides, glue them together, have a mixture of tall ones and shorter ones. And then once you get those all glued, then that's where these little blobs with the slit come into play. You're going to slip in your snake, what do you call that? A snake plant? I want to call it a leaf. It's not a leaf. Anyway, has those flaps, and you're going to glue those down to the back of your little brown blob. And that's going to allow your plant to stand up. So you're going to do that to each one of your little plants. I went ahead and put together the base of the pot. I did that out of grapefruit cardstock. And then this is where that large hexagon shape comes in. And I did that out of nutmeg because this is going to be like your dirt that goes in your pot. Fold those flaps in, put glue on all sides. And then this is going to tuck right in to the base. It just kind of tucks right in and it looks like you have dirt in your pot. So glue those so it's secure and holding steady. And then once that's dry and secure, then you can add your little plant stems. So you put glue on the bottom of the little brown blob and then you're going to glue this down into your pot. So this is where you can add as many or as little. I say the more the merrier. The fuller the plant, the better it looks, in my opinion. So I'm doing the taller ones in the center, and then I'll do the shorter ones around the outer edge. And then I'm gluing some of these little faux stones, and I added the little tag with some twine. Life would suck without you. Look at how cute that is. A little paper potted plant, a snake plant. And then lastly, I just wanted to show you a quick peek at the acorn because I just want to show you quickly how you can use that stamp to stamp the detail. I'm using nutmeg ink on nutmeg cardstock. And then I just line, it's very easy because it's a little bit larger, so it's easy to line up. And you stamp that beautiful brown acorn detail. This is going to be on the lid of your acorn. So the base doesn't get any detail. Just the lid gets that acorn stamp detail. And then I went ahead and glued all these pieces together, the lid, the base, added a leaf and some twine, and there you have a cute little fall acorn box. You got an acorn, a potted plant, an apple, you could do a pumpkin, a blueberry, whatever you can dream up. That is the introduction to the Fall Favors stamp set and Fall Favors box dies.